Now with the launch of Lightfall, we got a brand new darkness subclass. This comes in the form of Strand, and whilst a green subclass was thought to be poison when some of the leaks came out during the course of last year, Bungie decided to do it their way. But with that being said, it's also possible to make Strand almost a perfect poison subclass. Today we're going to take a look at a build that I've been using for the last few days on my Warlock, which is incredibly strong and will be useful in pretty much most activities. Now to fully unlock Strand, you'll first need to complete the Lightfall campaign, and Bungie made some changes to the game which unlocked all the fragments. You will still need Strand meditations though to pick them up, and these are class specific. Now once you've unlocked Strand and got all the fragments and aspects, we are pretty much good to go. Now whilst the grapple is one of the most popular functions when it comes to Strand, it doesn't form a key part of this build. We've switched this out for the shackle grenade, and this allows us to throw weighted strand matter that detonates on impact, suspending targets and creating additional suspending sub-projectiles. To further elevate that grenade, we're using Mind Spun Invocation, so if you actually consume your shackle grenade and activate Weaver's Trance, any final blows that you get whilst Weaver's Trance is active will create suspending detonations. Now we can turn this into a self-serving subclass that literally kills the combatants for you, using the Arcane Needle melee. This allows us to sling woven needles that will embed into our targets, unraveling them. And if you activate your melee ability again, this can chain up to 2 additional stacks. Now we have equipped the other Strand aspect called Weaver's Call. This is where casting your Rift will weave 3 threadlings and deploy any threadlings that you've perched. Now much like the grapple, the threadlings don't form a key part of this build, but activating your class ability does. As you'll see later in the video, it will be key to replenishing our melee energy. Now in terms of the fragments, we have the Thread of Wisdom, and this is where defeating suspended targets with precision final blows creates an orb of power, which will be absolutely key to building up our armor charge. We also have Thread of Generation, where dealing damage generates grenade energy, whilst there is a discipline penalty of -10. This is more than made up of the benefit that the fragment offers. Alongside that, we have the Thread of Fury, so damaging targets with a Tangle grants melee energy. Once again, we have a -10 penalty to strength. Now, Tangles are incredibly strong and key to this build, as by throwing these at multiple targets, this will easily allow you to replenish your entire melee charge. And alongside that, we have the Thread of Continuity, and this is where Suspend, Unravel, and Sever effects applied to targets have increased duration. This has a +10 stat to strength, offsetting the strength deduction of the Thread of Fury. Now, as for the weapons, we're focusing on using void weapons, as we're taking advantage of the volatile flow bonus from our seasonal artifacts. In the energy slot, I have a Deafening Whisper energy grenade launcher, which is an incredible wave frame weapon, alongside the retrofit Escapade machine gun. Now this has been crafted with 4 times the charm and target lock, making it an absolute breeze to spread volatile whilst also increasing the damage over time. But the key part of this puzzle comes in the form of Osteo-Striga. Now this is an exotic submachine gun from Witch Queen. And the main exotic perk is Screaming Swarm, and this fires a stream of sentient toxic projectiles that track target enemies. It also has Toxic Overload, so landing final blows or multiple precision hits will trigger a burst that poisons nearby targets. Now we're further going to enhance our poison spreading abilities using the Necrotic Grips. The main exotic trait means damaging combatants poisons them, dealing increased damage over time, and defeating a poison combatant spreads the condition. Now the synergy between Osteo-Striga and Necrotic Grip isn't a big secret, but when you combine that with Strand, the aspect and fragments we have on offer today, we have the foundations of an incredibly strong poison build. Now from here, we're going to take a look at all the mods on our armor pieces, so you're set up for success when running this build. On the helmet, we have a hands-on mod, which allows you to gain bonus super energy on melee kills, which we'll be doing plenty of using the Arcane Needles. Now to help enhance our weapons, we've also added Kinetic Siphon alongside Void Siphon, which allows rapid kills with these weapons to create orbs of power. Now as for the gauntlets and the Necrotic Grips, we have the Font of Vigor, so you gain a bonus to strength while you have any armor charges, and your armor charges now decay over time. Now, strength is key on Warlocks to building up your class ability energy, which as we mentioned earlier in the video is going to be key to refreshing our melee charge. Alongside that, we have Bolstering Detonation. This grants class ability energy when you cause damage with your grenade. Naturally, we're going to be suspending a lot of targets with the Shackle Grenade, or if you consume it, then the Unraveling rounds will help take out targets too, helping build up that class ability energy. Alongside that, we have Focusing Strike, and this grants class ability energy when you cause damage with your melee attack. Now, as for the chest piece, the main ones here are Charged Up, which increases the maximum number of stacks of armor charge you can carry by 1. We've also added Void Reserves, which increases the amount of ammo you can carry for your Void weapons, and this will benefit both our energy and heavy weapons. As for the boots, we have Stacks on Stacks, so picking up an Orb of Power grants you 1 additional stack of armor charge, alongside Kinetic Weapon Surge, and this is where your kinetic weapons gain a small bonus to damage while you have an armor charge. So whenever we create Orbs of Power using this build, it's either going to be refreshing our class ability or by using our kinetic weapon, delivering increased damage. And as for the class item, we've double stacked on the Outreach mods, which reduce the melee cooldown when using our class ability. Just by popping your Rift, not only will that spawn 3 Threadlings, but if you're surrounded by a few combatants, just taking out 1 or 2 will be enough to fully replenish your grenade charge. We also have Time Dilation, and this will mean that your armor charge has a longer duration. Now, some of these mods are only accessible once you reach Guardian rank 7, so if you are new to Destiny, you'll first need to level up your Guardian rank in order to access some of these mods. Now, as we mentioned earlier, there are a few mods on our seasonal artifact that will also synergize with this build. Volatile Flow is one of them, where picking up an Orb of Power grants your Void weapons volatile rounds. Another artifact mod worth unlocking is Counterweave, and this is where you or a member of your fire team stuns or defeats a champion, you gain energy for your least charged Strand ability. And if you've unlocked tier 5 on your artifact, Threaded Blast is a key one, and this is where destroying a tangle with a Strand weapon creates a larger and more damaging explosion. You will need to swap out maybe your energy weapon for a Strand weapon, but the blasts are very significant and will synergize with all the fragments and aspects and mods we've already equipped. Now, that was a lot of information to take in, and to help you guys out, I've also added a dim link down in the video description below. So if you want to easily equip all these mods, artifact and fragments for yourself, then be sure to check out that link, and you can find that down in the video description below. Now, when combined all together, this basically turns your Warlock sentient. By consuming your grenade and simply triggering your Arcane Needle, this will suspend your enemies, whilst the needles deal damage, taking out targets, further spreading the suspending effect. Now, whilst enemies are being suspended, you can take them out using your Osteo-Striga to spread poison, which will also continue to spread as a result of those Arcane Needles. You simply need to keep that gameplay loop going, and if your melee charge runs out, just activate your Rift near some targets, and the Threadlings will do all the work for you to reclaim your melee charge. All whilst doing this, you'll be generating Orbs of Power to replenish your class ability, but also deal increased damage. And by picking up those Orbs of Power too, you'll have Volatile Rounds, which is an absolutely deadly combination with all these suspending and poison effects. It makes clearing massive groups of adds an absolute breeze. If you have a huge bunch of wyverns, you can suspend all of them and take them all out with relative ease. All in all, it's the ultimate Strand ad clearing build, and one well worth considering when jumping into harder content. So there we have it, guys, a good look at the Poison Strand build on the Warlock. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to check out one of the 2 videos you see here in these cards for more Destiny 2 content. And if you want to keep up to date with everything to do with Destiny 2, then be sure to hit subscribe as well. I'm going to get back into the game as always, guys, and I will catch you all again very soon.